Welcome to the Interstellar Sleep Archives. I am the archivist, an individual with a name of no importance, a quiet traveler gathering bedtime stories from distant species, cultures, and civilizations across the galaxy, in order to understand the hearts of those who dwell among the stars. Every culture teaches its children what matters most, through stories told before sleep. Some teach love, some teach connection. Some teach that every life has value. And some teach that value itself is in the eye of the beholder. Tonight's entry comes from the Delta Quadrant, from a civilization so ancient, so certain of its place in existence, that it no longer seeks meaning among the stars. It defines them. This is a story from the Voth. According to the Voth, their history and lineage stretches back over 20 million years. The Voth, whose technology bends space itself. The Voth, whose city ships move like continents through the void of space. To the Voth, the galaxy is not a frontier. As the firstcomers, it is already theirs, their birthright, and all others are simply passing irritations. To understand the Voth, you must first understand doctrine. Because the Voth are governed by the doctrine, doctrine is a perfect synthesis of science, law, and identity. Doctrine establishes the Voth heritage, lineage, and superiority. Doctrine teaches that the Voth are the first comers, the original sentient species and rightful heir to their domain. To the Voth, they have mastered all that is to be mastered. Everything they are has already been proven. Everything they need to become has already been achieved. To question the doctrine is not curiosity, it is instability. And internal instability is the only true threat to a species that has already reached perfection. And now, without further ado, the Interstellar Sleep Archives presents In the Eye of the Beholder. Within the upper observation tiers of a Voth city ship, where the hull curved outward into a vast, transparent expanse of reinforced molecular lattice, a group of young hatchlings gathered in stillness. They were quiet. Not because they were told to be, but because Voth children learned early that unnecessary sound suggested unnecessary thought. Before them, the stars stretched endlessly, and cutting through that darkness was something small, a vessel, a primitive vessel, an unrefined vessel, though it moved at warp. Its warp signature fluctuated unevenly. Its field geometry was asymmetrical. Its power distribution inefficient. One of the hatchlings tilted their head. "It is unstable." The supervising elder stood behind them, tall, still, imposing. His voice, when it came, was calm, but edged with something colder than disdain. "Observe more carefully." The hatchlings leaned forward. Sensors extended automatically from the observation array, feeding data into their learning pads. The ship's hull composition appeared, layered alloys, poorly integrated. Its propulsion system overstrained, its energy consumption wasteful, its weapon systems visible, crude, almost desperate. "It leaks energy," another hatchling noted. "It bleeds it," the elder corrected. A pause. Then, "Like an organism that has not yet learned to contain itself." A faint ripple of understanding passed through the group. The elder stepped closer. "Tell me, what do you see?" A hatchling answered first. "A primitive vessel attempting to travel beyond its capability." Another added, "It compensates with excess output rather than efficiency." "And its design," a third said slowly, "suggests it was not built with full understanding of warp dynamics." The elder inclined his head slightly. "Correct." He allowed a moment of silence to settle. Then quietly, "This is what becomes of species who reach before they understand." Even newly emerged hatchlings possess more understanding than they will achieve in an entire lifetime. The words settled without resistance, not questioned, not examined, simply accepted. Several of the hatchlings turned back toward the failing vessel, not with concern, but with a subtle shift in posture. Straighter, certain, as if something within them had just been confirmed. The small ship drifted along its original vector, unaware. Its warp field oscillated within tolerable limits, its power distribution inefficient but stable enough for its intended journey. Then, a fluctuation. Subtle, almost imperceptible, but not to them. "It has detected the subspace displacement," one hatchling observed. A faint ripple moved through the observation array as the data resolved. "Their sensors are compensating for a mass shadow effect," another added. "Delayed response, approximately 3.2 seconds. The elder inclined his head slightly. "They are correcting for what they do not yet understand." Within the small vessel, instruments would now be recalibrating, readings rechecked, then checked again, because what they were seeing would not make sense. A gravitational profile too large for a vessel, a subspace wake too stable for a natural phenomenon, a presence that should not exist. "They are attempting to model the distortion," a hatchling said. "They are using linear warp field assumptions," another replied. A pause. "Incorrect." Then, the small ship adjusted course. Its engines flared unevenly, pushing harder, trying to move, trying to escape. The city ship did not alter its path. At first, the correction was minimal, a calculated deviation based on incomplete data. "They are solving for velocity, not mass," one hatchling noted. "They have not accounted for our subspace displacement envelope," said another. "They cannot." The vessel's warp signature spiked. Energy output surged beyond optimal thresholds. Its field geometry strained, attempting to compensate for forces it could not accurately map. "They are increasing plasma flow through a non-symmetric field lattice," a hatchling observed. "Inefficient," another added. "Unsustainable," said a third. "They are attempting to overcome the gradient," the elder said. His voice remained calm. "They believe this is a problem of force." The ship veered harder now, its trajectory shifting in sharp, uneven corrections. Not navigation, reaction. Its engines burned brighter, bleeding energy into space as containment thresholds faltered. "They are exceeding their warp field's coherence limits," one hatchling said. "Their field is decohering under tidal subspace stress," another added. "They are within our influence well," a third concluded. Fragments of signal began to emerge, chaotic, overlapping, urgent. "They are recalculating," one hatchling said. "Too late," another replied. For a brief moment, the vessel appeared to stabilize. A narrow vector, angled just enough to suggest possibility. Escape. If the universe were smaller, if the forces were equal, if they understood what they faced. "They are attempting a lateral phase variance," one hatchling observed. "Insufficient energy reserves," another responded immediately. "Even at maximum output, their field cannot generate the required curvature," said a third. The elder finally spoke. "They are solving the correct equation." A pause. "With the wrong constants." Inside the small ship, the realization would now be complete. Not theoretical, not mathematical, absolute. They were not avoiding an object. They were caught in the wake of something that redefined the space around it. "They understand now," one hatchling said quietly. "Yes," the elder replied, "and it changes nothing." The ship attempted one final correction, a sharp lateral shift, too abrupt, too late. Its warp field collapsed inward, then fractured. Space snapped back into place. The vessel dropped violently out of warp, stripped of motion, of balance, of control. Power cascades failed in sequence. Engines died. Life support faltered. Environmental systems dimmed, then flickered toward silence. It drifted. Broken, helpless, and still. The city ship did not alter its path. The small ship adjusted course. Its engines flared unevenly, pushing harder, trying to move, trying to escape. The city ship did not alter its path. It did not need to. One of the hatchlings watched closely. It is aware of us. Yes, the elder said. It is afraid. The word lingered. Fear, a concept the hatchlings understood academically, but did not feel. Will it succeed? One asked. The elder did not answer immediately. Instead, he gestured. Observe. The space around the Voth city ship began to shift. Not visibly, but in the subtle distortions of subspace, ripples that only precise instruments or highly trained perception could detect. The smaller vessel's warp field destabilized. Its asymmetry, once merely inefficient, became catastrophic under the strain. Its engines surged, then faltered. Its trajectory wavered. It is overcorrecting, a hatchling observed. Yes. The elder's voice was almost instructional. It does not understand the forces acting upon it. The small ship lurched violently. Its warp field collapsed, space snapped back into place, and the vessel dropped, dead in the void. For a moment, there was silence. Then, faint signals. Distress calls, fragmented, desperate. The audio translation flickered briefly across the observation feed, voices layered over one another, urgent, panicked, calling out into the vast dark. The hatchlings listened, not with empathy, but with curiosity. They request assistance, one said. Yes, another tilted their head. Will we respond? The elder turned to them fully now, and for the first time, there was something unmistakable in his expression. Not anger, not even disdain. Certainty. Non-indigenous beings, he said, have no rights under doctrine. The words landed with absolute finality. They are not part of our continuity. They are not our responsibility. Another faint signal echoed through the chamber. Weaker now, breaking apart. They will perish, a hatchling said. Yes. No hesitation, no softness, just truth, as they understood it. One of the youngest hatchlings continued to watch. The drifting vessel, the failing lights, the diminishing signals. They tried to move, the hatchling said quietly. They attempted to avoid us. Yes. They failed. Yes. A pause. Then, could we have adjusted course? The chamber went still, not because the question was loud, but because it existed at all. The elder stepped forward slowly. Why would we? The hatchling hesitated. They are alive. The elder regarded them for a long moment, then calmly. So are the smallest organisms that gather on your skin. A subtle shift passed through the group. They move, he continued. They consume. They persist. But they do not shape the galaxy. They do not contribute to its order. They are incidental. He gestured toward the darkened vessel. This is no different. The distress signals ceased. The ship drifted. Cold, silent, irrelevant. The stars continued, unchanged. The elder turned back to the hatchlings. Understand this. His voice was steady, grounding, immovable. The Voth do not dominate through force. We do not need to. We endure because it is our birthright. Others merely persist. He stepped closer, his presence filling the space. For 20 million years, we have perfected our knowledge, our biology, our place in existence. We are not as they are. We are not becoming. We are. He let that settle. If lesser species wish to survive, they must learn their place. They must observe. They must yield. If they do not, a faint gesture toward the void, the universe will correct them. The hatchlings turned back to the stars. The drifting vessel, having lost power and structural integrity, was already difficult to see. Just another fragment, lost among countless others. Return your focus, the elder instructed. Eyes open. They straightened. Eyes open, they repeated. To the doctrine. To Voth history. To our superiority. The moment passed, filed away, categorized, understood, that cycle. As the hatchlings entered regeneration, they did not dream of the small ship. They did not dream of the voices that called out into the dark. They did not dream of the lives lost. They dreamed of the city ship. Endless, perfect, unchallenged, unafraid, they dreamed of a universe already ordered, already understood, already complete. And within that dream, there was no uncertainty, no discomfort, no doubt, only the quiet, immovable certainty that they were exactly what they were meant to be. And so in closing, within a civilization older than most stars they pass, young Voth are not taught to wonder. They are taught to dismiss. They are not taught to question. They are taught to preserve. They learn that the galaxy is filled with movement, with incidentals. With that are striving, but none of it matters. Because at the center of all things, there is stillness, and that stillness is Voth. Did you enjoy this bedtime story? If so, consider liking the video and subscribing to the archive. It helps ensure that more stories like this continue to reach you. If not, tune in again tomorrow. The Interstellar Sleep Archives contains many more tales. Tomorrow's story may intrigue you, fascinate you, or simply lull you to sleep. And now, the archivist seeks your guidance. Tell me, which civilization should we explore next? The elusive night aliens, the honorable Hazari, or species 8472? Choose carefully. After all, every story you hear is shaping you, whether you notice it or not. Sleep well, fellow travelers.